Hi, I'm Matt from hockeyreviews.ca, and this is the Rebounds Optik 2 compared to the GNetik IV blocker kind of review comparison. So in the past, so first of all, there's a bunch of videos coming out with this set, comparing it to the Optik 1 and comparing it to the GNetik, including the pads and the gloves. This one, obviously the blocker. So going on, I did not like the Optik 1 blocker. I suggest people get the GNetik version if they wanted a matching set. Now we are on the Optik 2, so we're going to take a look at what the differences between these two blockers are, because some people have had criticism so far that Rebounds is really blurring the lines between their gear of the GNetik and Optik. That's kind of evident here, but not really, and we'll get into that. So we'll jump into it right away. Before, I thought the Optik 1 was inferior to the GNetik blocker. That's no longer my opinion. They did some significant upgrades on the Optik 2. If you want to see what those upgrades specifically were, check out the video for the Optik 1 versus the Optik 2. But we're going to just look at the differences between these two and kind of go over them. So the board on the Optik does feel stiffer than the GNetik now. And by stiffer, I meant harder face for bigger rebounds. Might be pretty close. This one is used, so it does have a little bit of use in that regard. This board is still a bit thicker and stiffer. Like when I'm squeezing like this, there's barely any flex. But that is a much thicker board than what the Optik is. You can see how it has a beveled edge. It does flex a little bit, but that face is still hard. So because I haven't used this, I can't say if this shoots off harder rebounds than the GNetik does. But the face is definitely on the harder side, which is different than the Optik 1. GNetik blocker is okay. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. I like big rebounding blockers, and this one just kind of, again, okay. So I'd be curious to see that one. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it at this time because of, obviously, me not using it. So sideboard is honestly pretty similar now. If we take a look here, you can see kind of the similarities in terms of how this is anchored down. It's the same. You have a pillow here where this one doesn't, but you have the thumb, which is the same. Hopefully this is showing up. That thumb is the same piece. The board is different shape and kind of different materials too, but it's pretty similar in terms of design and how it's gonna like kind of block box. The Optik 2 is a bit stiffer, so I'm a fan of that one. The palm is now the same, which is a good thing in my eyes because the GNetik palm was better with the sure grip material. Interior, pretty much the same. Fingers are different. So you still have that accordion style on the GNetik, but you no longer have the adjustable piece like you do in the Optik, so you can make it tighter or looser. So I give a little bit of the edge to the Optik in that regard. Like I said, these are kind of blurring the lines, especially for the blocker, but the big difference is still that the shape of the board itself. So you can really see how this one kind of cuts in a lot more and is thinner, like at the edges right here, where this one's thicker all the way through. That is the big difference. The shape is, I mean, hopefully again, this is on camera. The shape is not a huge difference. This is the one piece of gear where the lines are blurred pretty good. I think you won't really go wrong if you want to match with both. I prefer other blockers as my favorite pieces of gear, but these aren't bad by any means, and I use them to, I use this one time to time. I think I would use the Optik 2 as well, where I didn't use the 1. So this one, definitely blurring the lines, still different pieces. Unfortunately, I can't talk about rebounds. I think this one is going to be a bit bigger than the GNetik, just because I think they put a harder face on there for those rebounds. But again, I haven't used it yet, so I can't talk about that, so I apologize. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe to me on YouTube, hit the bell icon so you get notified when I make more videos and release more videos. There are a bunch of content with the Optik 2 coming out with a comparison against the GNetik catching pad, as well as the Optik 1 and Optik 2, so check those out. Remember to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I do kind of smaller content that isn't big enough for YouTube on there, so check it out. I think it can be really useful. And remember, if you ever do buy a piece of gear because of one of my videos, please reach out to the manufacturer, let them know. Helps me get on the radar so I can get demo gear, so I can use stuff and make content like this video and talk about different features and compare different pieces of equipment. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.